In today's video, I want to take you through the process of how I do my weekly stock buys. And for that, I'm going to show you 3 tools that I use all the time. And those tools are Seeking Alpha for research, Interactive Brokers to buy the stocks, and Dividend Watch to track my dividends. With this, let's get started. So first up, of course, I have to do my research on what stocks I'm going to be buying. So for that, I use Seeking Alpha. If you've seen any of my previous videos, you know that I really like the website. I'm signed up to the Pro plan. If you want to check it out, use my link in the description below and you're going to get a trial to check it out if you find value in it. But overall, really, I like the interface, very clean, and it gives a lot of useful information. Now, obviously, I could just go on here and start researching certain companies, or I could also just explore trending analysis, trending news, etc. over here. That's really what I do on a daily basis, just to keep an eye on it. But as you can see over here on the left, I already have my portfolio set up. And the good thing is here with interactive brokers, you can actually link your accounts and it automatically pulls in the data. So here I have my watch list, which are companies that I'm tracking and keeping an eye on. So obviously I always look into this here if any of those are having any moves. And as you can see right now, this is actually while the markets are open in the US and trading. So a lot of red, so a lot of good buying opportunities. What is this? I mean, look at this, carrying down 5.2%. Wow, what happened there? That's a major setback. But you see, overall, obviously, the market sentiment isn't the best at the moment. So a lot of good buying opportunities. That's how I always look at it. And then I also have here my Interactive Brokers account. And as I said, that's directly linked to my actual account. So that's really cool. And I have immediately here, obviously, my holdings. I can click into this over here at the top. You can have different views on how you want to see it. So basically you have the same stocks, but there's certain preset filters. So you can see it in a different view, basically. But I have created my own view, and that's what I would like to see. And obviously, I look at the daily changes to see what is happening with the stocks I already own, because ideally, I want to buy more of those. And I can see it at 52-week range to see how are they doing compared to the last year's performance. You can see here quite a few of them. Some of my favorite stocks right now, Realty Income is pretty much at the lowest point it's been for 52 weeks. And yeah, the same with Pfizer. And again, it's down 1%, 1.2%. So some juicy buying opportunities. And I don't overthink that every single time, because on most of those companies, I've already done my research and I already know that I want to own more of them. And I really do force myself to buy every single week to just get in the habit of it and dollar cost average. So when I look at those, I know I want to own those companies. And if I have to buy in a given week, obviously I want to avoid to buy it on a day where everything is in the green and ideally up, which, happens if there's a positive market sentiment, the job numbers are up, GDP is up, what have you. So definitely it can be very green market. But mostly there's always a day within the week where it's going to be red. So I'll try to wait for that day. And today is one of those days. So why not purchase some of those stocks? And as I said, I've obviously already done a lot of the research on those companies. And looking at this, I can quickly see right now with the drop over there, I will definitely buy some more Realty Income and some more Pfizer. I can see, some major setbacks over here right now. I'm getting a juicy dividend from Realty Income of 5.29% and from Pfizer 4.45%. And as you can see, both of them are really towards the bottom of the 52-week low. And honestly, I think it's really a good buying opportunity. And even if they were to drop more in the future, which might as well happen, right? I'm still going to get the dividend. Plus, obviously, long term, I really think those companies are strongly positioned to come back and produce great returns over the long term. They're very profitable companies. Now, obviously, all of them have a certain story right now why they're underperforming. But once again, I'm a long-term dividend growth investor. I'm looking at 5, 10, 15 years from now. So I'm very confident on them. So as I said, I use Seeking Alpha to do my research. Now, if it's the first time you're buying, you obviously want to go into each of the companies, then go through the motions and see what is happening. You have some good analysis over here. And actually, you can see, for example, for Realty Income, a lot of buying signals. And a lot of people see the potential right now, with Realty Income, for example, being under $60. I mean, I remember a lot of people say, oh my God, I missed the boat. If only they would come back under $60. So, well, now it is under $60. And obviously, some of the people are worried about them because, if there's a looming recession coming, they might be under pressure. Definitely the high interest rates are not helping them. But that's at the same time how you do get a good discount on the great company, right? So I think it's really worthwhile, and I'm definitely going to buy some more shares in them. And why I love Realty Income, because they actually pay a monthly dividend, not a quarterly like most other US dividend stocks. All right, so with this, let's hop over to my Interactive Brokers. portfolio, you can see over here, which is my overall portfolio. Right now you can see it took a little bit of a dip, but year to date, I'm still doing very well. I'm very happy with the overall change of my portfolio since the beginning of the year. You can see here in January, it was only 13,000 euros. Now it's at 28,000 euros. That obviously comes from additions to the portfolio in terms of deposits, but overall, definitely I've seen some good gains, plus of course, dividend payouts that have been received. So that's really good to see. So what I would do traditionally then, when I pick my stocks I want to buy, then I go into my portfolio, and most likely, if it's a company that I own already, I would obviously have them here. If not, I would go into the search bar, just look it up, and then find the one and then buy it from there. But as there are two companies I already own, so it's very simple. I just go over here, and you can see, by now it's actually my second biggest holding, just behind VUSA, which is the S&P 500. So yeah, you can see already here, the market value 2.7, the cost base is 2.9, so I'm down. But as I said, I'm really a long-term investor, so I'm very confident on long-term growth of that going forward. So let's click into this over here. It pulls up the page of realty income. And then from here, it's very simple. All I have to do, of course, I could do some more research if I wanted to, but as I said, for that, I actually prefer Seeking Alpha. Even though Interactive Brokers also has some great research, you can click into fundamentals over here and really have a lot of, insights into the stock, into the company. Actually, it's pretty good, showing graphs, displays, etc., social sentiment. So there is actually a lot of good stuff that you could be using if you want to get a glimpse of what's happening in the company, etc. So definitely a good starting point in case you don't want to pay for Seeking Alpha. That could be a good alternative. But let's go back to quote. And then we want to click on buy to make the purchase of those shares. So from here, what you want to do is obviously go ahead and select your quantity. So it's either in US dollars or the number of shares. And that's how I set up my template. And every time I buy, it already pulls up my pre-populated template of $250 worth of a certain company, because that's usually what I buy. I do my weekly $500 buys, and usually I split that between two different companies. So that just saves me time having to put in every time the quantity, etc. So it's ready to go, $250. I can see how many shares I'll be getting, 4.4. It's a market order. Usually I don't bother with anything else. And yeah, if I'm happy to go ahead, I click on preview. I can see here once again what I'll be getting, 4.4 shares of realty income. Not sure why it doesn't show the commission at the moment, but usually it's around 35 cents. So in general, I'm happy with this, and I can go ahead, click override transmit, and boom, just like that, the order has been filled, and I'm now the proud owner of 4.4 more shares of realty income. Alright, so now I want to do the same for my second stock that I want to buy for this week. So I'll go back into my portfolio. There's actually a blue dot right next to realty income, basically indicating that I bought new shares in the company. So now, as I said, I want to buy some more Pfizer, which is also one of my bigger positions in the portfolio. So let's click into this. It pulls up the stock. Once again, I could do all my research here if I wanted to. I can see also here the dividend history when I bought something last time. The dividend I got, $10 back in June. So yeah, as I said, I've done my research. I like the company. Let's buy some more. Click on buy over here. That pulls up the order form. And once again, as you can see, pre-populated $250, which will give me 6.8 shares. And yeah, I want to go ahead, click on preview. And once again, I don't know why it doesn't show the commission today. Normally it shows you the commission here, 35 cents, because I'm on the tiered plan. Definitely recommend your tiered pricing over fixed pricing. Normally when you start off with Interactive Brokers, you're going to be on the fixed plan, but definitely that's much more expensive. So change it in the settings to tiered, and it will be much cheaper. The cheapest you can get, 35 cents. So I'm definitely very happy with that. As I said, I'm happy to go ahead, click on override transmit, and boom, just like that, once again, I own more shares now in Pfizer. Right, with this, let's go back into the portfolio. You can see here now 2 dots, and basically that indicates that I bought those 2 shares. Now, you may ask yourselves, how did I change my dividend income, right? And obviously, the easiest way in Interactive Brokers, there's actually not a very easy way, but they're getting better now over time. What you want to do is head over to Performance and Reports, and then you want to click on Portfolio Analyst, and that will take you into a nice dashboard, which kind of shows you a lot of things about your portfolio. And one of them is actually your projected income. So that's really interesting, because that's obviously what we're interested in as dividend growth investors, the future dividend income you can expect for the upcoming years. So now I'm already at $684. However, that doesn't take into consideration the dividends I just bought, because with these new shares I just added to my portfolio, now the future dividend income will be actually higher, because I'm getting more dividend income as I own more shares, right? However, that will only be reflected from tomorrow. So somehow in Interactive Brokers, it doesn't reflect right away, only the next day. And overall, I really don't like the visual way of that. And that's why I'm using a third tool that I talked about, and that tool is called Dividend Watch. They have a free plan, but you can also sign up to the Pro plan, which I'm on, which is a paid plan. It's only a couple of euros per month, but for me, it's really worth it. And if you want to check it out, please use my link in the description below. And the cool thing is you can also link it with your Interactive Brokers account, and it automatically takes the information from there and displays it over here, as you can see. The only problem I have with it, unfortunately, on the auto plan, you will have a limited view, especially if I want to see the yearly dividends and the historic dividends. They are not displayed in the automatic view. What you can do, create a second portfolio. So if I click into this over here, you can see I have two portfolios. One is the auto one, that's basically pulling it automatically from Interactive Brokers, and actually have that set to dollars, because technically majority of my portfolio is in dollars. So I want to, not be exposed to any FX swings. So I like to look at both of those numbers, but I also set up a manual portfolio. It's basically the same Interactive Brokers account, but with a manual import. And that way, you have the same numbers, in this case just in euros, but essentially I have all the same numbers, all my portfolio listed here, etc., how much I made, my annual projected dividend income, etc. And the good thing is, if I click into dividends, you will see here the historic dividends from 21, which was a measly 14 euros, to 2024, which is already projected to be at 627. And you will see the number will go up in a moment as soon as I import the new stocks we just bought. So yeah, I can go to monthly here, calendar. So really great tool to get much more insights that you don't unfortunately get with Interactive Brokers. So for me, it's really worthwhile paying a couple of euros for that tool to have that additional insight, especially for dividend growth investors. So as you can see over here, my projected 12 months rolling dividends are projected to be at 686 euros. So keep that number in mind, because that will go up in a second. So in order to import the transactions to the portfolio, what you want to do is click over here to add transactions, and then you could either do it manually or you do a bulk transactions upload. So we're going to click on that, and then we want to head back to Interactive Brokers account, and from here you want to go to performance and reports, and then go to Flex Queries. And in Flex Queries, if it's your first time, you would have to create a trade confirmation Flex Query report. I can just show you how I've done it. I click over here on edit because I already prepared the report, but basically the first time you do it, you give it a name. I call it Dividend Watch Export basically, and then you want to select the trade confirmation, and that's the report that's already set up. And here basically you can select everything except for the last two subcategory and FIGI. The rest, just have everything selected. And then obviously here you will also have your account number that's there, models, optional, format, CSV. Then just follow the same over here. No, yes, no, period today, date format. Pause the screen if you need to just make sure you have the same. And then all you want to do is save it, and then you will have it over here. So you can go back to Flex Queries. And then very simply, all you have to do, once it's set up, it's always there. You don't have to do this every single time. Once it's there, it's there. It's a saved template. You click on run. And then what you want to do, obviously select the period. We've done the stock purchase today, so we leave it for today and CSV format. So let's click on run. And that's it. You've downloaded the file. Then with this, you want to go back to Dividend Watch, go back to your bulk transaction import, click on upload, select the file, and that will upload the file into Dividend Watch. From here, you just want to identify what are the columns so it matched up, and then all you want to do is follow the import wizard. They make it very simple. You just select obviously which column is what. So here it asks you, what column is the symbol. So you just click on symbol. So basically, boom, you select symbol, and then we'll already pull it up. You can see over here, obviously I bought O on the New York Stock Exchange. Yes, I do that. And then Pfizer, it gave me a different stock exchange. So you just have to choose where you bought it from. In my case, I bought it from New York Stock Exchange. So you just want to make sure you link it to the right exchange. Continue with import. I know at first it might be a little bit overwhelming, but trust me, now it takes me literally a minute to do. Then you want to tell them which column relates to the amount. So you go over here, look for quantity, and just select quantity. Done. It will show you already how many number of shares you bought. Continue. Then you will say the price. Price is just under quantity. Select the price. Boom. Now I see the price per share. And yes, we want to keep it per one share. Continue. And then there's the last thing already. The date of transactions. Here you want to select which column pertains to the date of transactions. So we want to select trade date. Select that. And then the date format will be year, month, date. That's the format how it comes out of Interactive Brokers. And with this, continue import. And then, yes, are you happy to the transactions? You can double check them over here. Are these indeed the correct ones that you're importing from the CSV file? Yes, add the transaction form. And boom, there we have it. The transactions have been added. I can go to transactions over here. I can see all the historic transactions I've done. And you can see from today, basically, this is the date. And these are the transactions I've done. And yes, if I add it all up, basically that's $500. It's sometimes split in smaller parts, so don't be surprised. That's just how interactive brokers gets the cheapest price for the stock buy. That's why the commission's so low, because sometimes they buy it in different intervals. That's why sometimes they split the amounts a little bit, but in total, you get the total amount that you basically bought it for. So if I go back to the holdings, you can see over here already how my annual dividend income went up. Because if you might have remembered just a second ago, it was at 686. So by adding those additional shares that I just bought, I basically added 23 euros worth of future dividend income. And that's what's really keeping me excited about buying more dividend shares in the future, because every time I make a purchase, this number goes up. And of course, right now it's still tiny, but if I go back into when I started, as you've seen before, I started with 14 euros and now it's already really ramping up. So my next goal is, of course, to finally hit the 4-figure mark to get 1,000 euros of annual dividend income. That would be great. And the good thing is it grows exponentially over time. It takes a long time in the beginning, but once you have a portfolio of 100,000, 200,000, 5% dividend of that starts growing and adding more dividend into your portfolio that you can then reinvest and continue to grow your overall portfolio even further in the future. Now, of course, this process could also be automated. You could set up automatic buy orders. For that, you could use Trading 212, Lightyear, and even in the active brokers, they added this feature. But honestly, I like to do this manually because I like investing. I like reading about my companies, see how the markets are doing. At the same time, by doing this, I make sure I really stick with it. I can see the growth over time, my dividend income growing, and that really gets me excited. Ultimately, I do believe it's important to stick with something, because a lot of people, they start, they get excited, but then they lose interest and then they stop investing altogether. So I think it's important to play the long term here. As I always say, it's not a marathon, it's a sprint. Especially dividend stocks, they do take time in the beginning to grow, but over time, you will definitely start seeing great results. Hope you enjoyed this kind of transparent video, and also let me know in the comments what other videos you want me to make in the future. Next up, check out this video over here. As always, guys, stay healthy, get wealthy, and I'll see you in the next one. Ciao.